Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the AM Report for HAPS News, the network of now. I'm Alex Mahajer. It is Wednesday, February 17th, and this morning, Rush Limbaugh, shock jock, racist, misogynist, and a very toxic media personality in the public sphere for the last 30 years, dies at 70. We just learned word of his death this morning, just moments ago, from his wife, who announced it live on air. We're going to discuss Rush Limbaugh's impact on the social and political discourse. We're going to talk about Joe Biden's town hall on CNN last night. We're going to talk about some of today's top headlines, including these Texas power outages that now the Texas GOP is blaming on the Green New Deal. All of this and more this morning on the AM Report. Thank you, everyone, for joining the AM Report. I'm Alex Mahajer. If you're watching on the HAPS app, website, or platform, click the award button. Let us know you're enjoying it. It'll pop up live on screen. Or if you're watching on Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, wherever you're watching, leave a comment and we'll bat around with each other live on air. Let me know how you feel about the passing of Rush Limbaugh at 70. We did learn about his passing. I'm loving all the comments already and people chiming in and saying hello. Good to see you all this morning, and I love seeing faces and names from across the country and around the world. So very interested in your perspective, especially today on this, as we discuss some of today's top headlines. Hello, Pablo from LA. Good to see you. And thank you again. If you're watching and you're one of my recurring monthly sponsors, I want to thank you for supporting independent journalism. Visit me at haps.tv/@Alex if you want to learn a little bit more. Right off the bat, a user saying, ironic, the dude who said lung cancer was from smoking was a lie, died from lung cancer from smoking, and died during Black History Month. Thank you for that comment on YouTube. Larams23, and we're going to get into Rush Limbaugh and his impact on the social and political discourse, because first and foremost this morning, the lead is that Rush Limbaugh has died at the age of 70 from lung cancer. His wife announced it this morning on the radio, on his usual radio show, and the world is a better place without Rush Limbaugh in it. I don't wish any suffering or pain to anybody, and I hope that it was a painless passing, and my condolences to his family for what is surely a loss and what is surely a painful experience to lose their father, their brother, their dad, their grandpa, and they surely loved him. And in that regard, my condolences. But the world is a much better place without Rush Limbaugh in it. And I wanted to play a little bit of some of Rush Limbaugh's, the impact that Rush Limbaugh had. Let's hear a little bit of some of Rush Limbaugh's most infamous moments.
They know that in their hearts, the Obamas don't like them. They understand it's a little bit of uppity.
Mitt Romney ain't never had to eat no dog meat, as Barack has. Barack knows poverty.
Let's take a look and see who is the cute kid in the White House. No, that's not the kid. That's the kid. We try to...
This is Paul Shanklin as Al Sharpton about Barack Obama.
Barack, the magic Negro, lives in D.C. The LA Times, they call him that cause he's not authentic like me. Yeah, the guy from the LA paper said he make guilty whites feel good. They'll vote for him and not for me cause he's not from the hood.
Obama's America, white kids getting beat up on school buses now. I mean, you put your kids on a school bus, you expect safety, but in Obama's America, the white kids now get beat up with the black kids cheering, yeah, right on, right on, right on, right on.
So, with an A on the end. Well, I think I can now. Isn't that the point? Because it's not racist.
Rush Limbaugh, thank you for your decades of tireless devotion to our country.
And of course, Donald Trump awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2020, despite his long decades worth of history of racist, misogynistic comments and just mind-numbingly toxic comments. Rush Limbaugh unequivocally, with his following and the amount of people that listen to and subscribe to his radical views, contributed to this toxic white supremacist environment that we are currently in. And if anyone is surprised by the insurrection at the Capitol, or surprised that white supremacy has been a problem in the United States, and thinks that the murder of George Floyd was the beginning of this problem, you need to look no further than Rush Limbaugh, who for 30 years has been pumping and legitimizing his toxic brand of racism and misogyny into the public sphere. And so the world is a better place without him in it. And again, condolences to his family. What do you guys think about Rush Limbaugh's passing? Hello from Raleigh, says Raymond Sims. Good to see you from Raleigh. I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina after college for a couple months for work. Just a lovely place, Raymond. So hello to you. Jill says, thankfully he never produced. I wasn't aware of that. So you're making news with me live on air. I didn't realize that he had no heirs, but it's always, it is surely sad. I know he left behind a wife who did love him very much, and is mourning his passing. So what did you guys think about hearing the news this morning that Rush Limbaugh passed away? Let me know. And are we just creating a vacuum now where another more toxic voice and personality can take over and pump the world full of their hatred and hate mongering? Rush Limbaugh, dead at 70 from lung cancer. In other news this morning, Raymond says, I'm staying quiet if I have nothing good to say. Prayers to his family, though. Which recalls Raymond a quote by Betty Davis, which was, I'm paraphrasing, something like, I've learned to not speak ill of the dead. So Rush Limbaugh is dead. Good. I've inserted Rush Limbaugh's name for that quote from Betty Davis, which is pretty notorious quote. So Rush Limbaugh, dead at 70. Now, last night, just a quick brush on Joe Biden news. Joe Biden gave his first town hall appearance as president of the United States on CNN. He touched on a few topics. Student loan cancellation. He's saying he's willing to cancel $10,000, not $50,000 of student loan debt, which is upsetting to a lot of people. He talked about equity issues in the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine, and is drawing some criticism from the right for suggesting that minority groups tend to have less access to the internet. And they're saying, wow, Joe Biden's a racist. But what he's talking about is that certain minority groups in certain areas of the country don't have access to the internet. And so they don't have as much access to making appointments for the COVID vaccine if they want it. And that's a problem. He's trying to address issues of equity in the COVID-19 distribution. And the right, of course, there to meet him with their disingenuous criticisms. Either way, he did also say he's tired of talking about Trump. He denounced white supremacy as well. Let's hear him talk about white supremacy and the problem. Speaking of Rush Limbaugh, Joe Biden's comments last night on the CNN town hall about white supremacy and its impact on the social discourse right now.
On the growth of white supremacy in some of these groups. You may remember in one of my debates with the former president, I asked him to condemn the Proud Boys. He wouldn't do it. He said, stand by, stand ready, or whatever the phrase exactly was. It is a bane on our existence. It has always been, as Lincoln said, we have to appeal to our better angels. And these guys are not, and women are in fact demented. They are dangerous people.
Calling white supremacists demented. I mean, it's a nice change. It's a nice contrast from stand back and stand by, Proud Boys. He's calling it demented, and he's right to. It's time that we started calling it what it is. Racism, white supremacy. It's a sickness. It is a mental illness, and it needs to be treated, and it needs to be rooted out. and it needs to be rooted out at all costs because it's a sickness and it will spread. So appreciated that from the president last night. He also said he's tired of talking. Falguni Patel says we have a real president now, and I agree with you. Having a real words matter, and the former president's inability to condemn this kind of white supremacy, racism, or dog whistling to it had an impact. It has an impact, especially from the highest office in the land and the most powerful position in the world. The words matter. And so having our president speak out in no uncertain terms about this will have a ripple effect, and a positive one. So thank you for that comment, Falguni. He also said he's tired of talking about Donald Trump. Here's that moment from the CNN town hall last night.
The question: do you have your credit with us? How many loans do you have with us? What credit cards do you have with us? Because even though they were being underwritten and we bailed their rear ends out last time out, they weren't. It was too much trouble to lend to you. What did the president do? And I don't want to pick on the president. I'm tired of talking about Donald Trump. Don't want to talk about him anymore. But the last administration spent a lot of time, talking about how there was no need for inspector generals. We find out that 40% of the money, the PPE loans to go to
I don't want to talk about Trump. Sick and tired of it. And maybe I don't either, Joe. President Biden, neither do I. So all in all, Joe Biden's first CNN town hall addressing some of the major concerns with regards to COVID-19 relief and the $1.9 trillion package that he's seeking to get done in Congress through reconciliation, which means he's trying to bypass Republicans who are going to vote in opposition to this, and he's selling it to the American people because he realizes that there's not going to be a bipartisan support for the package, that Republicans are going to do what they do and they're going to obstruct. So he did this in Wisconsin, of course, swing state, a state that delivered for him, that put him into the White House. So he's there to speak directly to Wisconsinites and to the country about the COVID-19 stimulus package that's about to come. I mean, the Democrats in the House and the Senate are working on the language as we speak, and we're looking to get this package signed, sealed, delivered to the president for signing, hopefully within the next few weeks. So let me know what you think. Does this guy have an IG? Are you asking about my IG, Eris Zen? In which case, yes, I do. And you can find all my social links. Visit me at haps.tv/@Alex, and you can visit any of my social media profiles to say hello. Let's see here. So as we know, Texas has been hit particularly hard by this winter storm that's been moving through the country. The majority of the country was getting hit by this cold storm, lots of snow across the U.S. Texas, not a state that usually gets snow, is getting lots of snow and sub-freezing temperatures, which has left millions of people in the state without power, electricity, or even water in some instances. And so this has been going on for days now, and there's lots of news coming out about how wealthier communities aren't suffering, or don't have their power shut off, and more low income communities are taking the brunt of these power rollouts. Texas Republicans like Senator Ted Cruz and Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, who have previously slammed states like California for trying to implement more renewable energy infrastructures and trying to modernize our power grids, now left looking pretty dumb with egg on their face. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, a lot to answer for. Texas is a state that has requested that it specifically not be connected to other states with regards to its power infrastructure. It's one of the only states, if not the only state, in the United States that's not interconnected with other states to receive power. Okay, they've demanded that they be an independent state and are one of the most archaic states with regards to their power infrastructure and updating it. And now they're left millions of people without power. And of course, this is a state that's very behind with regards to moving into green energy, renewable energy sources. And so Texas Governor Greg Abbott is left with a lot of his egg on his face, and yet goes on Sean Hannity on Fox News last night to blame his state's power woes on the Green New Deal, which is an abstract proposal, not an actual law that hasn't been signed into law. Certainly, it hasn't even been written. There are proposals about what the Green New Deal would look like. Joe Biden has said he wants to He wants to implement a very progressive climate change policy with regards to renewable energy, rooting out carbon emissions in the United States by 2030, things of that nature. But the Green New Deal hasn't happened yet. And here's Texas Governor Greg Abbott blaming his state's power woes on the Green New Deal. Check it out. Let me know what you think.
What good is it?
Sean, this shows how the Green New Deal would be a deadly deal for the United States of America. Texas is blessed with multiple sources of energy, such as natural gas and oil and nuclear, as well as solar and wind. But you saw from what Trace said, and that is our wind and our solar got shut down, and they were collectively more than 10% of our power grid. And that thrust Texas into a situation where it was lacking power in a statewide basis. That was power that was spread out by that ERCOT organization that you were talking about. As a result, it just shows that fossil fuel is necessary for the state of Texas as well as other states to make sure that we will be able to heat our homes in the wintertime and cool our homes in the summertime.
Well,
Just a shameful performance by the Texas governor. Left millions of people without power and water. These are services that people depend on. I've got a commenter saying, I've got my home off the grid. Well, that's great for you. I'm so pleased that you're able to do that. But millions of other people rely on the government because that's the system we got. And I love that you went off grid. But the system we got is that people pay money. We pay money to receive electrical power, water. It's services that are paid for. I pay a utilities bill every month. I don't know about you. I also pay an electric bill every month and a gas bill. And so I'm glad that you've got your own system. But people pay for those services and they expect the government to deliver. And that the infrastructure has failed is a testament to the archaic power grids, archaic climate and energy policy of that state, and the need for a Green New Deal. A need to have renewable electricity sources, a need to not rely on coal and gas and oil, natural resources to fuel our homes and our lives, and to do better by the planet. So Greg Abbott, shameful performance, and left with egg on his face, just like Senator Ted Cruz and other Republicans in the state, while millions of people are going without water, power. Truly shameful what's happening in Texas. And of course, Greg Abbott also tweets out he's instructing people to stay at home, to stay safe. Where were your stay-at-home orders when coronavirus was tearing through your state? Is currently tearing through your state. It's one of the states that's suffering the hardest hit from the COVID-19 pandemic. There are no stay-at-home orders then, Greg Abbott, but you get a little cold spell and all of a sudden you're willing to take away people's liberties? So all in all, the hypocrisy from this Republican Party has me feeling a little fumed today. Greg Abbott, shameful. Beto O'Rourke, talks of Beto O'Rourke running for governor. As we know, that state has not done well with Democratic voters, even though there's seemed to have been a push for Democrats to take over the state or to turn the state purple or blue, the way that Georgia did in the last election. Still hasn't happened yet, although inching closer and closer. We know Beto O'Rourke came very close to unseating Ted Cruz in 2018. And of course, President Biden did well in the state of Texas, not as well as people hoped, but came closer than any other presidential candidate in the last 30 years of taking over the state. So we'll keep our eyes on Texas and give them our well wishes. All in all, stay safe out there. Do what you can to stay warm and protect your families. This has been the AM Report for HAPS News, the network of Now. We are live every weekday morning with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your day started right. If you like this journalism, if you like this content, please consider sponsoring it. You can do that at haps.tv/@Alex, where you can just buy me a cup of coffee or become a recurring monthly sponsor and support independent journalism. Or just click the subscribe button and let us know you're enjoying the broadcast. You'll get a notification that we're going live every morning. We'll be back tomorrow to discuss all of the latest, and have a fantastic day. I'd like to leave you with just another clip of Rush Limbaugh, who died today at 70, and some of the more reprehensible statements that he's made. Here's Rush Limbaugh.
2 days, Rush Limbaugh has eviscerated Sandra Fluke on the radio.
What does it say about the college co-ed Susan Fluke, who goes before a congressional committee and essentially says that she must be paid to have sex? What does that make her? It makes her a slut, right? Makes her a prostitute. She wants to be paid to have sex.
Fluke, a third-year law student at Georgetown, is now the flashpoint in a debate about whether employers should be required to fully cover contraception even if they have religious objections. Fluke had been prevented from testifying by Republican Congressman Darrell Issa at this congressional hearing in mid-February. 2 congresswomen even walked out of the hearing after only men testified.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.